Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this thing. I'm alive, baby. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm good, man. How are you? You're back from the
You're
dead.
supposed to say my name. That was my way of doing the intro.
Oh. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, Steve, and I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 cyclehum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, mocking. Fixing.
It is a mocking podcast.
The guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, breaking, selling. I don't know.
The guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, playing,
breaking, modding, and breaking
podcast.
I'm like, I took a melatonin last night, which sounds really weird, but like I usually don't.
That doesn't sound that weird, Steve.
And I don't know if that's why I'm so tired, but I've been extremely tired all day.
You look tired. I don't want to sound like I'm dissing you, but you look like you've had a day.
My hair did not survive the ride home.
You're sitting there looking into a camera and you just finally noticed your hair.
No, I noticed it earlier. I just didn't fix it.
I was like, he must be fine with it. Whatever. That's his new style, I guess. So let's get started.
Oh, whoops.
This first ad is sent by John Kelly, and it is for a modified PRS. To me, it looks like this guy was trying to make a PRS look cool, which is a very difficult thing to do.
For trade, custom modded PRS SE Custom 22, limited run, quilted, faded, blue burst. Amazing playing and sounding guitar, modded for amazing tones in perfect condition aside from a small nick in the neck binding at the heel of the neck, so it doesn't affect anything and hardly noticeable. I don't even know why I mentioned it. Mostly interested in other electric guitars, but willing to hear out other offers. Comes with a PRS gig bag. Will also include the original stock hardware and pickups. Mod, neck pickup, TV Jones Classics, neck 2. There's
two necks.
Neck 2.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a center pickup.
Most people call the second neck pickup the middle.
Yeah. Well, it does say neck 2/center, but why would
right.
Just go with center. 65 dearming gold foil, and in the bridge a Railhammer Nuevo 90 hum cutter, so it doesn't buck the hum; it cuts it. PRS SE locking tuners and Babbitt's full contact saddles. Each pickup is wired to its own kill switch and all wired to a coil tap. But between the kill switches, three-way switch, and the coil tap, this thing is a tonal monster with very high-quality pickups, and that's why I'm selling it. It's just an amazing playing and sounding guitar that I just don't want anymore, and literally any other guitar that you would want to give me, I will consider, as long as it's an electric guitar. I mean, that's basically what this guy's saying.
Just get anything, please. Anything at all. Just take this from me. I don't know. I think Paul should chase this guy down and hire him as a designer. My eye is liking the gold foil mixed with the Filtertron, mixed with the Railhammer. Like, this thing is going to sound different than every other PRS.
That gold foil, what did he call it?
It's a dearming pickup. It's not really a gold foil because the foil's not gold, but it's probably got the same kind of magnets.
It's just like there.
It's just there.
It's just like body mounted.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're real thin. It's probably just surface mounted.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking this was going to be, because I usually don't look at the pictures.
It might be cut.
I thought it might be cut a little bit, but like I was not expecting it to be like, I thought it was going to be one of those.
I mean, either way, if it's surface mounted, there's still a hole drilled for the cable. So this is a non-reversible mod on this PRS.
Does PRS SE have a 3 pickup? They have some 3 pickup guitars that are like HSH. So I was expecting an HSH with a modified center,
right.
Like with the middle pickup modified.
No, there's no PRSs with a second neck pickup. They all just have the one neck pickup.
Right. But they do have they have ones that are 3 pickup PRS.
Right, totally.
Be one of those. and it's not. This is, does it say what it start? Oh, SE Custom 22. So I guess that by definition is a 2
I want
pickup.
to see more PRSs with different pickups in them, because they always just have PRS pickups. Usually that means that they're either open coil humbuckers or covered humbuckers. On some of the models, I know they have slightly different pickups and things like that. But I'm liking the look of this with a Filtertron in the neck. Like, I think that looks very handsome. Paul, get on it. Put some weird pickups on some things, you know?
It's a good choice. I will say, like, it is a good choice just from the perspective that it's different. And like you said, you don't see different pickup configurations in a PRS. I don't know about these pickups, but I do think the idea of like a pickup, you know, they just came out with that PRS NF, is it the NF3? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what
the one
you're
that
talking about.
The one from Gearfest last year, NF53.
Oh, the Tele thing. You just called it Telecaster. It's a Telecaster, Steve.
Yeah, but I wanted to get the model
just
name
like
right.
how the Silver Sky is a Stratocaster.
Yeah. The PRS Telecaster, they need the Cabernita version of that.
Yeah.
So where it's got two D-Armands or two.
A very successful model, by the way. Like, we've all seen that the PRS NF-TRS-T has completely taken over the Telecaster market. Yeah, that's what everyone is buying now. The PRS TNF-TRS-C.
I mean, now that we are a year, literally like almost, I guess not 100%, but basically a full year out from that.
Right.
Can we conclude that the strength of the Silver Sky is John Mayer?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's fair?
Yeah, we could have said that a year ago and everyone would have been like, yeah, duh. Because
every
single company makes a Strat.
Sure. I know that was the thing even being discussed at Sweetwater when it launched.
I mean, the primary strength behind it is John Mayer. The secondary strength behind it is that PRS fans will buy PRSs. And if a PRS fan has a Strat craving and there's a PRS Strat, that's the Strat they're gonna buy. Like,
yeah, the Miles Kennedy is $2,900, and you can get them for as low as $2,000 on Reverb now.
What did they start at?
29.
Oh wow! So they lost a lot of value.
So they're down.
Now, I don't know. It's the economy, Steve. It's inflation that caused those prices to go down.
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't help. Sure, it doesn't help.
No, it probably doesn't help at all. People are not buying a lot of, just silly purchases these days. And a PRS Telecaster is a little bit silly compared to food and water and clothing and shelter and stuff like that. Yeah, so
there's an NF53 at Guitar Center for $2,200. Those are also $2,900 new.
Yeah.
There's one in Hong Kong. How much would this cost to ship? There's one in Hong Kong.
Just drive there and pick it up.
$150 shipping, which still makes it
not bad.
Under $2,000.
What are all these?
I might have to buy that one. It's a Sunburst. Should I buy it right now? I should not buy it.
Are there
right
two?
Now.
Buy one for me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Can we what was that website? Oh, Groupon. Can we get a Groupon on it? PRS guitars?
Yeah. I want to see a PRS with Jaguar pickups in it.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
like what else can we do with a PRS to try to make it look cool?
You could take one of those PRS EGs, the ones that had the single, not the ones that had the triple humbucker, but the ones that had the triple single coil. Oh my God. The single coil, 3 single coil pickups, and you could just put Jaguar pickups in them.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even need a mod.
Yeah. Just throw them in there. Yeah. All right. Well, this guy, what does he want for this thing? $1.
Is there no $1? Oh, because he just wants a trade.
Wants a trade. Yeah.
What would you trade for this guitar, Ryan?
Well, it's an SE. So, like there's an argument to be made that he's decreased the value here, even though I think it looks cooler now.
These are $980 new.
I mean, it's got a TV Jones in there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a rail hammer is a side grade. Gold foil is added value, but how much? It's not actually gold. It's a 1965 Diarman pickup, so that has value.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the TV Jones has increased value, but that value is taken out of the fact that wood has been carved up in this guitar.
Sure.
I just feel like it's going to be a net loss for the value of this thing. And I'd probably feel, I don't know. It's hard. I wouldn't buy it for me. So it's hard for me to say.
No. I'm not saying what would you trade? He doesn't want to buy.
I know,
I'm saying,
but
what would
you have to figure out the value to figure out what you'd trade against it,
Sure.
Yeah. I feel like there's about $700 worth of trade value there.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm looking at Reverb. These guitars are the cheap. Oh, this is a local pickup. But it's a local pickup in Los Angeles.
Oh,
$665.
I feel like I'd rather drive to Hong Kong than Los Angeles.
There's another one in Massachusetts for $625, but there's not a lot of these. Particularly the blue ones. There's not a lot of.
I think he should just go all TV Jones Filtertrons in this. 4 of them, just 4 Filtertrons, and that would look so cool.
There's one in. Yeah, you're right on with 700. I'm mostly seeing them around 650, but I'll take 700.
Well, it's trade value. Like it's fine to put some wiggle room there and be like, hey, if you've got a guitar that you think is worth around $700, whether that be new or used, then we can start having the conversation, because it's about starting a conversation with this guitar, with someone who's looking to trade.
I don't think I have any guitars in that price window. Maybe my Japanese Strat, but I wouldn't sell that.
You wouldn't sell that. You wouldn't trade it.
Or I wouldn't trade it. Not for this.
No.
Give me a break.
You're serious? If you traded your Japanese Strat for this thing, I would be pissed at you, Steve. I would have to marry you so I could divorce you.
Wow. That's some strong language.
I know. It's serious business. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys in the audience think about this? Does this PRS look cooler now? Did he do it? Did he make a PRS better than it was before? I've modified a PRS before. I think it turned out cooler. PRSs are a hard thing to modify. Like a Fender Strat, easiest thing in the world to modify. Telecasters, great mod platforms. Jazzmasters, all that. Fender guitars love modifications. PRSs are kind of like Gibsons, where it's a bit tough to modify them without cheaping them, without making them look like, oh, you got rid of the thing, like, oh, you changed the pickguard for an aftermarket pickguard. Now it looks wrong now, like you have to be extremely specific with these types of guitars. And I think he nailed it. Good job.
2 points.
Yeah. All right. What's next, Steve?
What's next is housekeeping. I do not have a great transition into housekeeping, but it is how it is. But this week, of course. And I should have thought about this ahead of time. We should have thought about this morning. What we should have done is we should have, since we're recording remote because you're still recovering from illness. I have a question about that. Did your brother get sick at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay, because I was at your brother's house on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. We haven't. We've been keeping quarantine away from family too, so it's like we locked stuff down tight over here. So what happened is my 5-year-old came home from she threw up at school. She's in pre-K.
Right.
She threw up in her pre-K class. And so they
Mhm.
called us, we picked her up, and then we found out later that it's like 7 other kids in her class either
Right.
called in sick or threw up that day. And every day since it's just been the same thing. Like everyone in that class is just infected. And immediately, like the next day, the very next day, Henry, my 9-year-old, started throwing up middle of the night. So then
Nice.
Lauren and I were up all night long taking care of him because it's this thing that just like it once your body starts throwing up, it has to clear every squeeze of juice out of you. Like it just
Mhm.
squeezes you dry. And then a day passed and I was like, oh, I didn't get it. Lauren didn't get it. We're in the clear. The next night, 4 o'clock in the morning, I get up, I start squeezing the juice into the toilet, just blasting chunks. It was so rough. And then I
Delicious.
had 2 awful days after that. Like it felt like every
Mhm.
cell in my body was melting and falling apart and just like I don't think I've been this sick in
Wow.
probably 6-7 years or something like that. It really really sucked. So I'm feeling the best I've felt all week right now, and I'm still like a little bit of cold sweaty, like. But my
Mhm,
spirits,
mhm.
you can tell my spirits are great because I'm not actively dying right now, which is nice. So, but Lauren hasn't caught it yet.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
tonight will be the night. But I really hope not. But yeah, there was
Oh,
no way
man.
we were gonna have you over and risk spreading this thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah, for
just
sure.
so
Appreciate that.
absolutely miserable. I think the last time I was so miserably sick was when I caught COVID at NAM. Like
Mhm,
that was
mhm.
really, really rough, but it was different. Like this was violently rough. Like, oof.
Right.
Oh man.
Um, so
Yeah.
anyway, actually, this is a good point, though, is one of the things I believe we pay for with Patreon is
Medical insurance.
StreamYard. No, it's
Yes,
StreamYard,
and we're
right?
using it right now.
Yep,
Finally,
and we're using it right
we're getting our
now.
value out of it this month. We pay for it every month. We
Well,
don't use it every month, but here we are.
right. We probably should use it. Well, anyway, the thing I was saying is what we should have done is knowing that we were going to do it streaming is we should have thrown a link just onto Patreon and be like, if you guys want to watch, we're not going to interact, but like I'm sure people would show up.
No, I feel like if we're gonna do a live, let's do a live. I think that would have made us
Fine.
feel distracted, and I don't know. I feel like that would have killed our vibe a little bit.
All right.
But
I
maybe
can't even see the chat right now.
yeah, Patreons, you tell us. Patreons, tell us if that's something you'd like in the future, like a behind the scenes live. But also, I just kind of feel like because then they wouldn't see the ads,
Yeah, that's true. That's
because
true.
I'm editing those into posts. So here's a
All
little
right.
backstage talk, guys. So Patreons, never mind. I'm not editing the ads. You wouldn't want to see this, so we're not going to do it.
And anyway, joining us this week at the $1 level is William Duvall, Roman Lassus, and Mr. Natural OG.
Mr.
At the
Natural,
yeah,
nice.
the OG Mr.
Yeah.
Natural. At the $5 level, Miko Latinen.
You
That's
nailed
a
it,
tough one.
Steve. Perfect.
Thomas Dzubla and Nicholas Marshall, and at the $10 level, Rob Van Horn. So thanks all
Yeah.
y'all
Oh, thank you so
for
much.
signing up,
The
joining
it's
us over here.
really honestly incredible how far the Patreon support goes to keep things running over here. I don't want to, just flop my guns for too long about it, but yeah, there's a lot of bills that get paid. There's a lot of services we have to pay for, a lot of shipping and things like that. A lot of fun things that we get to do
Yeah.
because we have the support that benefits everyone who watches. You make a lot of content possible. So huge thanks to the Patreons. If no one else ever supports us ever again, eventually we'll have to figure out what to do. But we truly, deeply appreciate everyone who has supported us so far.
Yeah, you'll have to truly, madly, deeply
Hmm.
think about how to keep this going.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? this is always it's hard to keep the flow on this.
I know, because it took us a while to figure that out when we were doing COVID times, like how to figure out how to get our energy back, because we're used to being in the same room with each other and breathing the same air and sharing the same germs. And it's just like when you can't taste the spit in the air, like it's hard to sync up.
This show's also sponsored though by Chase
That's
Bliss.
right, Steve.
So that's the thing that people should know. Chase Bliss, they just launched a new pedal called I tried to look it up because I wanted to make sure I got it right. It's the Onward.
That's right, Steve.
Onward is the new Chase Bliss. I went to type in Chase Bliss and I typed in Chase Blah. And that is not what they're called.
That's not
they're
correct.
called Chase.
Yeah.
Chase Bliss.
That's like the alternate like Mira universe version of Chase Bliss.
Yeah,
Chase Blah.
Chase, they call the Onward the Living Landscapes pedal. It's a sampler controlled by your playing. Moves when you do, capturing the sounds you make to create rich musical landscapes. Chase Bliss has really excelled at these like sampler, glitchy sampler textural things for a while with, you know, pedals like the Mood and the Blooper and the Habit. And I'm sure the Onward is another excellent addition to that lineup.
It's an envelope controlled bleep and bloop machine. What else do you need to know? You gotta have it. We all gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
How are we going to make music without it?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't make music.
Now that I've told you what it is, you know that you need it. So, you know, tell Chase Bliss that we sent you when you go over there and you buy 3 of them.
Yep. All right. This next ad was sent by Philip Lauer.
Sure was, Steve.
This is a Fender Swinger /Aero /Music Lander 1969 in Olympic white. This is another person who was asking $1 Fender Swinger Aero Music Lander 1969.
Spoiler, that's just what they were asking on Marketplace or wherever they first listed this. I found them on Reverb and they have money listed there.
Incredibly rare and with beautiful relic. No trades, serious buyers only. Please message me and make an offer. I don't really need to let this go, but I am willing to find an enthusiastic buyer if we can agree on a price.
You know, I think
so. This guy says he wants offers, but you found it on Reverb where they're asking $4,000
down, $1,000 from $5,000.
Yeah,
the price drop alert.
And the reason that they are selling this so cheap is because somebody butchered the fuck out of this guitar. Actually, I mean, it's not that bad. They dropped it. They dropped in one pickup. Well, what's the routing on these? Do you know? Are they pool routes?
I'm pretty sure these are going to have the same routing as the guitars that Fender cut them out of, which I think was a Mustang. I think they cut these out of Mustangs. I might be wrong on that one. The Swinger and the Maverick both have the same history in that Fender cut them out of other existing shapes because they were trying to enter the market and compete with BC Riches and the Olympics that were all the rage in the late 60s and early 70s and stuff like that. They're like, oh man, everyone wants all these pointy guitars now. Well, let's just take, this big pile of Mustang bodies and make them pointies. Which is funny because we've covered so many vintage Mustangs that have been mangled by previous owners who do that exact same thing. And we're like, why would they ever do that? Fender showed them the way. Fender did the same exact thing commercially and then slapped a new name on it. They took Mustangs and Jaguars and things like that. And it wasn't the Jaguar. It was the 6. The 12. The 12. They took the 12 string.
The 12. Oh, right.
They took the 12 string and they cut it into the Maverick. And then I'm pretty sure this was Mustangs or Broncos or something like that. Maybe it was a Duosonic because it's got a Duosonic bridge on it. Maybe they were.
I'm a little confused because I'm looking at an article on Fretboard Journal where they say that it's a modified bass 6, but I don't see how you get from a bass 6 to this.
That might actually be true because then that would give you looking around the room for my it's across. They would give enough wood to cut out, and if the blanks hadn't been routed yet, that actually does make sense. Yeah.
I guess I just don't understand how you make the lower horn, but
you just take wood away. And I bet they made the whole body shorter, you know, like because they took a
Yeah,
lot of wood
that's
away.
probably what it
Yeah.
is. That's probably
So
what it is.
they didn't route for the trim, and then they slapped a
Mhm,
Duosonic
mhm.
bridge in there. That's wild. But yeah, the routing underneath, I have no idea. If they didn't route for the trim and the bridge and you know, other controls and stuff like that, then whoever modified this thing might have taken wood out, which could decrease the value. But it's such a weird guitar because they're rare,
Yeah,
and rare typically means expensive. But you see all these listed here.
they're like 5
There's
grand,
8 of them
maybe a
listed
little
because
more.
there's only so many ever available. They go from 3 grand up to $7,500, and 3 of them have had massive price drops. The
Yeah.
$3,000 one is down from $3,400. The $5,500 one is down from $9,000. The one we're looking at right now, it had a $1,000 price drop. Like, you have to find the exact buyer for these things. They're not easy to sell, and if you have one that's modified at all, then that complicates matters. Like this
Mhm.
guy's gonna have to be the cheapest one on Reverb if he wants to sell. Well, the other one looks like it might not be. Oh, it's a signature swinger, so it's a more modern one. It's got a Strat trim on it. So the cheapest actual swinger on here is $39.95, almost 4 grand. He's got to be under that. He's at 4 grand. He needs to be like
Like
that's the
35.
number I was thinking, like 35. Because like, what's the value of potential wood missing? What's the value of the
Right.
original pick guard being mangled? You know, someone who wants to buy a swinger wants to buy a swinger. They want to buy
So
the real thing, and they're gonna love the relicing. I think the relicing does look cool on this, like aged white. Hell yeah, that always looks great. The
looking at some swinger bodies, I found some pictures. It looks like the area where that humbucker was routed in would it was like some weird sort of like where the cabling or their channels were
okay,
cut out for the cables and stuff.
yeah,
Um, it almost looks like these bodies were originally designed to have in one of the pictures I found, which I should be screen grabbing, but I'm not. So whatever.
you
Um,
can put it in the drive later.
yeah, I'll forget.
Okay,
I already
all
forgot.
right.
Uh, Um, now let me see if I can find the one I was looking at. Because it's interesting. It almost looks like it's set up for. It's got to just be the way it was loaded into the machine, but it almost looks like it wants to have like a telly, like the 52 telly
Oh
pickup
yeah.
on it. Um, and I just don't know if that's actually the case,
Well, base sixes have a middle
um,
single coil.
but this isn't even like you wouldn't be able to fit a full like Strat size single coil
Oh,
in there.
interesting.
It would have had to have been um
Yeah, I think these bodies must have just been blanks that hadn't been routed yet, and they were like, let's try to make BC Riches out of this.
yeah, it's do you say BC Riches?
Yeah, BC.
Oh, because of the
Yeah, yeah,
points.
yeah.
Because of, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Oh. It's like, what in the world does that even
I
mean,
think a lot
Ryan?
of times people forget too that BC Rich came out of the '60s. Like we look at BC Riches and we think '80s guitar.
Right.
They're older than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of shift in guitar design started to happen in the late '60s.
If you refresh your drive, you'll be able to see the picture that I was looking
Okay,
at.
okay. I'll refresh the drive. Oh, I see it loading. Here it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I
weird.
don't think I don't think you would really put a pickup there, but it is kind of weird that they would route it that
Yeah,
big.
well, that's like they were routing it for like one of the 12 string split coils.
Right. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Very strange.
But it doesn't seem quite right for that either, because aren't those would be like symmetrical? You'd expect the Z to zag in the middle of
I would have no idea
the
what the
slot
routing
there.
would look like underneath one of
Yeah.
those things because I've never had the opportunity, the blessed opportunity to take a look at the guts at a vintage Fender 12 string. I'd love to.
Yeah. So it kind of looks like that humbucker is in that
Yeah, they
spot,
took advantage
right?
of some open wood there, but then they definitely had to take more out. Uh,
For
but
sure.
someone who's gonna want to buy this to have a player isn't gonna care about that too much, but it is gonna like mess up the value. Like they're
Yeah.
gonna buy the unmodified one that is $4,000 and doesn't have a humbucker slammed into it.
Yeah. Pick Guardian, they at least have an article about Fender Swinger replicas.
Mhm.
So it does look like maybe
This is another like I did that.
you could get well, the whole thing with Pick Guardian is I think you like take a scan or something of your
Sure.
picture of your thing and then you send it to them.
If I was gonna replace this pick guard, I would be going to an expert. I'd either be
Mhm.
watching eBay for like someone selling a vintage one, or I would be going to is it Spitfire that makes the
Spitfire.
really, really nice, like three-dimensional, modern, tortoise pickguard materials
Yeah.
out of celluloid, the old school way. Like I'd be going that route. I'd spend a couple $100 getting the right pickguard on this if I was gonna do that. But remember, I think it was like 2 years ago, I did that video saying that Fender should do what is it? I can't think all of a sudden. But Jag Stangs in the same style as the Bullet Mustangs. And I know that I got hung up because they're now the Sonic Mustangs,
Oh,
but they
okay.
should do like these cheap kind of knockout $150-$200 guitars in like these weird
Mhm.
fantasy
Mhm.
shapes. Like
Yeah.
just have hardtails because
Yeah.
that's what this is. It's a hardtail guitar. Just like knock out a $200 swinger, and I know they probably
Yeah.
have to crank out thousands of them for the economics of it to make sense.
I think they would sell.
I I know they would sell. I think a
Um,
$200 Sonic Swinger would be
yeah.
a smash hit. Not like they make those with beginners in mind, but you
Mhm.
make the
Mhm.
right thing and the collectors buy them. Like this,
Yeah.
like the experienced guitarists that like to do mods and like to have weird things and buy things on whims and stuff like that and are just infatuated with cheap stuff like people like you and me and things like that and
Sure,
our wonderful
sure.
audience. uh if they made a $200 swinger, yeah, I'd do whatever I need to do to get one. I'd even buy it.
Man, the total production estimates on these between the 1969 run and the Fender Japan run, is apparently between,
It's real low, I know.
um, 250 and
Yeah.
600. Now, the Wikipedia says that these were unused bodies from the Duosonic 2 and the Fender Bass 5, which is what I was thinking is that these were Bass 5 bodies.
Oh. I mean,
Um,
the base six had so much wood in it that I would have believed that, but
yeah,
like, man, it sounds like the story's not totally straight because different people are saying different things. So
yeah.
it is what it
Oh,
is.
and the bass 5 body would have been routed for that weird pickguard because it's a
Mm.
5-string bass, so it's not
What
symmetrical.
if they did it with multiple different styles of bodies? Like they're
Well,
like,
they're
we've
saying
got
they're
three
saying
different bodies that we can cut into this shape. Just put them in through the bandsaw with the template, and they'll turn out how they turn out.
I mean, ultimately, that's what this article kind of leans into is you have bass 5 bodies, you have Music Master bodies, and you have Duosonic bodies all being turned
Right.
into Fender Swingers. Now, the Fender Swinger didn't sell well, and
Probably because it's ugly.
but it seems like there's possibly enough. Like you get the right artist to endorse it.
Right.
You know, Tina Weymouth played one of these. Maybe you bring her out. Someone like that. Um, the other thing I was thinking about with this is you just make a baseball themed marketing campaign around this. Fender Swinger, when you want to knock one out of the park.
This is how little I think about
Fender,
baseball. I couldn't predict how you were going to make a connection. It's like, how are you going to make a baseball connection to a Fender Swinger? I couldn't figure it out. Oh yeah,
hit a home run
swinging
with a Fender Swinger.
Okay,
I know that's probably not what they were referring to. But you know,
I don't think they were referring to the sexy stuff. They were probably referring to swing dancing.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't. They probably were leaning into the sexy stuff. They were probably like, "Oh, this is for the swingers."
Yeah,
this one is for people who like to throw their key in a hat or whatever swingers do.
Yeah.
I've got these little winged bugs all over. I'm trying to figure out if they're winged flies. They kind of. I mean, not winged flies, winged ants. They look like ants to me. They don't look like termites. They don't look like mosquitoes. I need to do a check of the garage tomorrow. Great.
Here, hold on. Let's back up 30 seconds.
Sure.
Ryan,
yes, Steve.
What's new?
Now we're doing it. We've left this ad.
Well, if you want to talk about ants,
okay.
Do you want to talk about the ad more? We can talk about the ad.
I'm done with the ad. I don't think anyone should pay $4,000, but if you are a huge swinger aficionado, tell us in the comment section what you think it should be worth. So how about that? Yeah, what's new? I've got ants. That's my what's new. I'm sick. I already talked about that. So Steve, do you have anything new?
This isn't for us, but this isn't our new, but I feel like maybe I was a turd, and I was early in the turdness of an army of people being turds to a turd. The other day,
it's Turd Watch 2024.
Yeah, maybe some of the folks who are watching or listening saw this.
No idea
there's a company
about.
There's a company called Cable Free Guitar, and they make these like they started with like wireless packs.
Okay.
And they also do like guitar straps, and their wireless packs, without getting too much into it, their wireless packs are wireless
are they
packs,
like wireless like plugs, like what?
Yeah, they're the majority are plugs, and then their straps their main strap line is like this ergonomic style strap and whatever. But they made a post the other day basically saying like, "Hey everyone, we're coming out with the new thing," and it's like it's gonna be. They called it I think they even called it like a game changer or like something like that.
I don't think this industry could handle a game changer.
But basically what they were doing is they were mimicking the Rockit Music like strap. It's one of the newer styles that they've been doing. So it's not the lenticular. It's like the cracked. They call it like the cracked finish.
Okay.
So it's like the sparkle, but it's like crackly
what
sparkle.
Are they called? Cableless?
Hollow flash. It's called Cable Free Guitar. No, so the thing is you're not going to find that strap on there.
Okay.
Because Haley hit us up, and I saw it, and she was like, "Look at this stuff." So I went on there and was like, I just asked the comment, "How is this a game changer?" And then she posted it on her socials, on the Rockit Music Gear socials, and a whole bunch of other people that follow Rockit Music Gear went on there and were like, "Gee, this looks a lot like the Rockit Music Gear straps." And the next day, Cable Free Guitar took the post down and made another post apologizing for the post.
Wow.
And
that's wild.
Basically have not seen a company do this.
I was not expecting
in a long time.
That weirdly reasonable twist.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that because I think that's really cool. I mean, it sucks that it happened in the first place, but it's cool that that it got resolved that smoothly. And I guess props to Cable Free Guitar for doing the right thing when a lot of other companies have also done ripoffs of the Rockit Music. Like they've gotten into like the high color hyper wash, wash isn't, but like these hyper bright straps, and they just go all in, and they just, blinders on. All they care about is making money and not the
Well,
optics
all of the
surrounding it.
Rockit
So
is a company too. They want to make
yeah,
money too. Like I'm not going to fault any company for wanting to make money. It seems like the world of straps is funny. It feels like there's a hyper competitiveness there, and
yeah, yeah,
it feels like a very different world compared to like the pedal world and even the guitar world, where we've encountered so many like just chill companies that like
sure,
just like are friends with each other and stuff like that. It feels like the strap world is weirdly highly competitive and very cutthroat. So it's nice to hear that that turned out nice. Like,
yeah,
mistakes
yeah,
happen and things happen, and people use designs and ideas that maybe they thought were public domain and didn't realize they came from somewhere specific. And the in those situations, like the way a company responds means so much more than the original infraction,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's going to be part of the topic that we're going to talk about here in
I,
a minute.
I suspect that the company, the OEM, and this is maybe an important point. Um, Rockit Music Gear sometimes has an OEM, and sometimes they don't.
Right.
Like, hey, when right now I know they don't, because their sewing machine is they don't have a sewing machine. But when they have operating sewing machines, Haley is making those
Yeah.
straps, or she has a team in Modesto that's making those straps by hand. Right now they've outsourced it. It's still, those straps are still being made by American sewing machines, or at least, Americans with sewing
Yeah.
machines. So the cost of those straps, like, that's built into that. Um, but I suspect in the cable free guitar situation, they had an OEM that basically said, "Hey, look at this thing we can make." And they didn't know where it came from. They just thought it looked cool,
Right.
and so they
Right.
said, like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's post this on our socials, and if people react good to it, then
Sure.
we'll do it."
I think
And people reacted going,
what the
"Hey,
hell?
this sure looks a lot like you're ripping someone off."
Yeah.
So happy ending all around.
I would like what I would imagine that if you're a strap company and you see a strap and you're like, oh, hey, it'd be fun to make a strap like that to add to our collection here. And you can't find a source for the material,
Mhm.
and or the design is printed into the strap, because Rockit has a lot of printed straps too, with like lots of like graphics going on and stuff like that. I would just assume like, oh, that's a proprietary design. Like that's a
Right,
trademark design.
right.
We can't recreate that, because the moment you go into recreating something, then it's like
Sure.
you can't buy the raw materials. Then now you're actively trying to copy it. And you
Yeah.
need to figure out where it came from before you do that. So, but the way taking stuff down and stepping back is the correct thing to do.
Yeah. Let's before we get into the topic, because I feel like we're running into the
I know,
topic, and
right?
we're gonna forget our second sponsor, who is
Oh.
Stringjoy. Stringjoy makes strings more creative. Wait, no, that was Chase Blur. Sorry. No, Stringjoy, they make their strings also in a factory plant, whatever you want to call it, in Nashville. I've seen videos of
Yeah.
it, but I've never been there because I've never been to Nashville. But maybe, well, I've
Use
been through Nashville, but I was like 7. But anyway,
I
Ryan's
hope there's an event in Nashville someday in our future where you and I can go to Nashville together. I think that'd be a
yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah,
And Steve, before we
uh,
get too far, is it
yeah.
possible for me to hand one of these to you?
Hold on. It might be. Definitely nobody saw that.
No, well,
Nobody,
yeah,
oh, hold on.
editing Ryan, fix that. Here, Steve, I want you to have one of these because I have two.
Oh, there it is.
Whoa!
Great. Thanks,
Yay, now we
Ryan.
each have one of
Now we
these.
both have
Yeah, that
one.
was so slick
Awesome.
and
We
perfect
we
in
did
every
it.
way.
It's a good thing I hadn't put these on a guitar yet. Um, I've got 2 guitars right now strung up with these, because I have 3 packs, and one of them is my Gibson Les Paul. It's the first one I strung up, and I do actually keep that one pretty clean. But on top of that, those strings have lasted. They still, I actually played that. I played that guitar on the YouTube short that I posted the other day.
Steve recorded guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
Played through pedals.
With my phone camera, and it sounded not good.
It sounded good enough. You did. I think you did the right thing. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, it sounded good enough for shorts. But I also have these I have these. What?
You said good enough for shorts. And I said or pants.
I also have a set of I have a set of
capris.
orbiters on the guitar that lives in my living room.
Oh, nice.
That gets a little more beat up, and my kids will go over to it and rub their hands on it, and I don't, I clean it when I play with it. I'll clean it, but a lot of times it's just out there in a much more traffic space than the office, and those strings are holding up great too. So I really like these strings. They're light coat. If you want to check them out, use the link down below. Use code HUM at checkout for 10% off.
10% off. I put these things on everything that I restring around here, and I can always tell when a guitar has these orbiters on it because I can't remember when I changed the strings and they're still feeling fresh and crispy. And they got that slick made out of human teeth feel to them. So
I thought we were gonna
He almost made it through without the human baby teeth reference. All right, on to the topic.
So I'm gonna read. You want to start with the comments?
Well, let me preface it. Okay. So this topic is from me this week. So there was a thing that happened this past week where a brand that I've done videos for, Fesley, I've done 2 videos with their guitars. They hit me up and I covered a guitar and I was like, I like this so much. Send me another one. And then they agreed. And so I did a second guitar. They did a no. They did a bad on the internet. It's not that bad. But this guy commented to me on one of those videos, the first video. He said, "Are you about to take this video down?" Referring to the Fesley video. Pretty sleazy guitar company using doctor photos of Tyler Bryant supposedly using their guitars. So what happened is on Fesley's, I still don't know how to pronounce it correctly, on Fesley's marketing pages and on their third party marketing sellers or whatever you want to call it, other retailers who are selling their stuff were using this photo that was a photo of Tyler Bryant playing one of their guitars, clearly manipulated, photoshopped. And so
do you think it would, I guess I'm looking at it. I don't know at first glance that I would realize that this is shot.
To my eye, it's immediately obvious. But I could see a lot of people being fooled by it. But
I would also add, I just wouldn't really care. To me, it's just a guy holding a guitar.
I would recognize that this is Photoshop before I would know who this person was. That's not me trying to diss on this guy. I don't know who most people are. Like, I follow gear. I don't follow musicians.
Right. To the point that I've been calling him Tyler Bryant, and his name's Tyler Bryant.
Yeah.
I asked.
I did do my due diligence today, and I did listen to one of his songs, and it's like,
that's one more than I've listened to.
This is cool.
But what I will say is, I asked Philip Carter because he knows a lot more names. I thought, well, maybe he's a blues guy. I don't know. Maybe he's a blues guy. Maybe Philip knows who he is. And so I said, "Hey, do you know who Tyler Bryant is?" And he said, "Yeah, he's Rebecca Lovell's husband."
Who's that?
She's the guitar player for the band Larkin Poe.
Who's that?
You don't know Larkin Poe?
Don't.
Okay, Larkin Poe is like a roots rock band that's fronted by the Lovell sisters, Rebecca and Megan Lovell. Okay. I don't know the name Rebecca Lovell, but as soon as he said Larkin Poe, like, I know who Larkin Poe is.
So I listened to one of his songs, and my takeaway is, like, this is a band that could be on like a tour with the Black Keys or something like that. Kind of like riff rocky, kind of like blues rocky, but not like Joe Bonamassa blues rocky, like kind of like swagger, bar, rock, blues.
Sure.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But anyways, back to the subject at hand, Fesley doing a no-no here. So what was funny and entertaining to me is that this commenter came in hot and heavy on my case. Like, hey, are you going to take down this video, or are you going to continue supporting this company that's done this awful thing? And what this commenter didn't realize is that not only am, I'm a seasoned expert at this point, a decade in the business of guitar marketing, who's worked behind the scenes talking to all these different companies and getting a beat on how they work and how organized they are and aren't and things like that. Not only am I an expert on that front of this particular industry, I bought my house with stock image money. And what
right.
This guy had no idea who he was lodging a complaint with and how much I think about these things and how much deep personal professional experience I have with these things. Because here is what happened. The narrative that the social media posts and things like that and the articles about this have tried to push is like, this company tried to make it look like he's one of their signature artists or something like that. No, that's not what happened. I know exactly what happened. Tyler Bryant has a photographer friend. Well, I'm speculating right now. He has a photographer friend, or there was a photographer at a concert, or he hired a photographer. And then when the photographer was done photographing him at a show or whatever, the photographer came up to him and was like, hey, can you sign this release? And then he signed the release, and that photographer went and took all those photos, or the ones they thought was the best, and they put them on Shutterstock to be sold underneath an editorial license.
Right. So can you explain? This sounds so planned, but we didn't talk about this. But I have seen this brought up. Can you explain what an editorial license is?
Well, I'm not intimately familiar with Shutterstock's license. I was in this business 10 years ago. I worked through iStockphoto and I was doing illustration, but everything I did was through certain licenses. And an editorial license is different. It's for editorial use, which means like you're using the photo to show something that happened for articles, or to reference a person that exists, or a thing or a place that exists and stuff like that. I can imagine, without reading the license, that modifying it in significant ways is a no-no.
Sure.
But I can also tell you that every single person, well, the vast majority of people, and this is from deep personal professional experience, the vast majority of people who buy from stock image websites, whether it be Shutterstock, iStock, Getty, et cetera, they don't read the license. They don't care. There's a graphic designer out there who picked up a gig on Fiverr. They're going to make barely any money. And they were told, hey, we need you to put this guitar in the hands of someone who looks cool on a stage. And so they went to the stock image site that they have an account with, and they found the photo that had the right angle and had the right look. And they're like, I can take this photo they sent me of the guitar, and I can Photoshop it in here, and I can make it look convincing, and then I'll make my commission off of Fiverr or whatever. I can almost guarantee that's like the sequence of events. I don't think Fesley is a big enough company to have an in-house designer that's that talented. Like it's a decent Photoshop. It's really decently done. Like my eye can catch it. Like my eye can catch that it's not real, but it's really decently done. But the vast majority of graphic designers out there that do this stuff are not getting paid money to read licenses. They're sourcing images, and they're doing their deeds, and then they're begging for forgiveness instead of permission if there's ever an issue like that. That's the industry, unfortunately. And so my big issue isn't like defending Fesley, because I'm not going to. Like, I have no stake in them. Like, I have no personal relationship with them. I enjoy the two guitars that I demoed for them. I think they're good quality. I think people could buy them if they want to. But if they disappeared tomorrow, it would mean nothing to me.
Sure,
I have nothing
sure.
to defend there. Like I have, like I hope they don't disappear. I hope every guitar company does well. But this guy kind of leaned into me and dug into me like, well, how much are they paying you to lie for them and stuff like that?
Right,
and like this
right.
big dramatic thing is like, no, man, I'm telling you as a past professional graphic designer who, like spent significant years of my life, like I sent him a link to my iStock portfolio that has almost 4,000 designs in it. I designed almost 4,000 rights managed licensed designs. Like I know my shit about this stuff.
The photographer who posted this photo has almost 41,000
That's the game.
pictures on Shutterstock.
Yeah.
Some of them are for whatever use. I did look up editorial use on editorial content from Shutterstock is basically if I wanted to write an article about, in fact, actually, the first picture on the guitar.com article for this is a picture that says credit Will Ireland / Classic Rock Magazine / Future via Getty Images. That is an appropriate use of an editorial license.
They did an editorial license on that one because they bought it from, they licensed it from Getty and the photographer got paid for it.
Right. And so most likely, and thinking about this because, the example you gave for a 2018 concert with Tyler Bryant, I got to remember that Tyler Bryant, which we've already discussed. Like, maybe he's a big deal. I just don't know.
No, his YouTube channel has like 40, 50,000 followers. And one of his videos had like 130K or something like that. So he's on the map.
He's like 30% as cool as us. Okay.
No, gotcha. He's probably way cooler than us.
But my point being is like, the only reason he knows this photo even exists, I suspect, is because of this Fesley thing.
Right.
Because when I go to J.A. Dunbar's photos, also for editorial use, is a picture of Pink.
Right.
And my guess is that, my guess is that from how I know some of these things,
you've got to be able to get releases to do editorial, but maybe if it is maybe that's what limits it to an editorial license is that if you don't have paperwork from the subject, then then it has to be editorial.
My just a guess. And if I know we've had some photography professionals who were listeners, so maybe they would know better. And if you know better, tell me I'm wrong. Because
photography is a whole world
because I'm just
licensing is
speculating
crazy
here. I'm just speculating that when you have a photography pass to get into a venue, this photo of Tyler Bryant was from the Fillmore in Detroit, that the contract is between if there's a contract of some sort, it's between the photographer and the venue. Totally and the act has already signed their rights away for
with their general agreement or whatever.
Yeah. And because as a photographer, you are there to cover an event. So that, again, that does limit that to this editorial use idea. But again, I'm just speculating, but at least logically that makes sense to me. I do know we have at least a lawyer in our Facebook group.
I don't want to burden a lawyer with this conversation. There's no,
but I'm saying I'm saying the folks over at Blues Lawyer Confidential, who I posted a video from on our community on YouTube
he could do a video on this
weeks ago. He might know more about how this works, and this would be a good topic for him to cover if you want.
I want to qualify my opinions on this again in another way, just for the people who think that I'm defending Fesley. The reason that I know about all this stuff, like one of the reasons I know about this, and like feel a little bit flippant about it, I have to admit, I feel a little dismissive, and also feel very entertained because it's something that I've spent so much time dealing with in my life, is because I was constantly having to send like nasty grams and letters to people and things that looked like cease and desists. Like I never did a full legal cease and desist or got, lawyers involved or anything like that. But I would send, letters to people because I was selling thousands and thousands of designs.
Yeah.
And people use them improperly all the time. All of my designs were illustrations. And when you make illustrations, everyone thinks they can use it as a logo. And they don't sell a single license. Or they didn't. I don't know what they do now. They didn't sell a single license when I was working on iStock that you could turn any design into a logo. Logos are completely different business. You can't do it because it's right managed.
Right.
And if you go try to trademark it, you're screwing yourself because that trademark will never hold up in court because everyone who's paid a rights managed license for it gets to use it. Like they are allowed to use it because they paid for the license for it. And I'm still the original copyright holder. So like, you can't use this stuff as a logo. It's the same thing that happened to me over and over and over again. And you get upset about it the first time. And then the rest of the years of your career, you're like, people don't understand what this is. They don't, no one reads the fine print. No one reads the license. Most people are not savvy to the business side of image licensing and copyright and trademark and stuff like that. People don't know what a logo is legally or technically. People just want to have a mascot for their business. But then the moment they want to own it, then there's big problems. You know, like it's glorified clip art when you're selling on Shutterstock or iStock or stuff like that. Like it's you don't want, like, someone who knows things would know that you don't want to use those designs as logos because they're all over the place. You know, like here's another example. Like we're doing well with this channel. A lot of people know who I am. A lot of people know who we are. But the thing in my life that I've done that has reached the most eyes,
I already know what you're going to say.
Without a doubt, reached the most eyes.
Yeah.
I would be willing to say every single person in America, in Western culture, and probably throughout a lot of the world has seen an image that I made. And it's always the thing that you don't work very hard on. It's just a silhouette of a Bigfoot.
And yeah, I saw another one the other day.
Yeah, I see it almost every day I drive around town because they get turned into bumper stickers and decals. And my son watches video game videos on YouTube where it turns up as graphics and video games and stuff like that. I made this silhouette of a Bigfoot and it gets used everywhere. It has become the default Bigfoot. I could say it's public domain. Legally, it's not. Technically, I still own the copyright, but how would I even enforce that at this point? And it's at this point, it's just funny to me. Like if every single person that's used that design bought it with the license, like I wouldn't have to work anymore, probably.
Right.
It would be ridiculous, but it's impossible to enforce. And it's just one of these things where, like, at the end of the conversation, here's my ethical take on it. Like very similar to the discussion about Rockit Music and the Straps and that other company. What you do when things are, revealed says more than the original mistake. Fesley, as far as I understand, took down the image on all the listings and all the sites that they control. All the third party sellers, some of them still have it listed. Apparently that's just a function of, like, who knows how easy it is to contact those people and if they care at all, like or how hard is it to modify Amazon listings? I have no idea because I'm not a seller through Amazon. It might be one of those things that takes a while, but they did take down the image to the best of their ability. So that's a great response. The discussion about how ethical it was to do it in the first place. If they had truly intended to try to trick people into thinking that he was a signature artist for them, that's dastardly. It's actually, here's a new word I invented last night, and maybe other people have invented it before me.
Boy.
It's bastardly.
Bastardly.
Like, to do that would be truly, truly despicable and awful. But because I know both of these industries so intimately, I can't fathom that's what happened. I don't think anyone at Fesley is so conniving to even attempt that. So the ethics there really land into this, like, the graphic design industry, people don't get paid enough to pay attention to the details.
Yeah.
And, you beg for forgiveness instead of permission because everyone's got to work really fast and kind of, like not paying attention to make any sort of living out of this stuff. And then the other ethical side of it, Tyler Bryant, he was totally within his rights to complain. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
Publicly. Like, what you do afterwards is, in consideration too. Like if he made it his life's mission to ruin this company, then I would be like, wow, you're being pretty bastardly now, Tyler. But if he moves on and he lets the issue be done now that they've taken it down, it's like, yeah, no harm, no foul. Like they took down the image that they probably paid someone on Fiverr to make for $30 or something like that. It's one of these things that, like, I understand why the fandom got upset about it, but when you actually understand these industries, it feels extremely non-consequential.
Right. There is. Oh, actually, I'm looking through. So I went back to the Instagram post. I'm reading through some of the comments now. Geez, you'd think maybe we should research some.
No, that's no fun.
I know. And I think the core thing is, again, is talking to our audience about how, like, yeah, this sucks, but it's also not this.
I mean, if people who are upset
conspiracy to trick, again, like, one of the comments on here says usually concert, or it said, like, they talk about how it's entirely possible that they bought a stock photo off Shutterstock that has a license. Now, again, the license is for editorial, so I believe that means you can't doctor the photo. But somebody just later says usually concert press passes are given for editorial use for publications. Some looser releases allow selling of the photos, then you can upload them. But to that point, the buyer is licensing for editorial use. Now, that being said, one of the more interesting comments on here just says, not sure I care about this since you work with Fender, who is anti-union and anti-workers' rights. So it's like, yeah, I understand you want to get up in arms because from his perspective, he is a well-known guitarist, and Fesley is trying to take advantage of potentially of his fame.
Be right back. I have to get my laptop charger. I can edit this part out, or you can keep ranting, but I won't be able to hear what you're saying.
From my perspective, and I think a lot of people's perspectives, perhaps, like, this is the first time I've heard of Tyler Bryant. You can jump in the comments and tell me that, the comment that we've gotten a lot in the past is, how have you never heard of this guy? You have a guitar podcast, and maybe that's fair. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But again, like, to reiterate, this is one of those things where when you go onto a site like Shutterstock and you just Google, or you use their search function and search for rock concert, there's all kinds of images that come up, or like rock guitarist or whatever. There's all kinds of images that come up, and there's actually a lot of photos on Shutterstock that you can use and modify however you want.
I'm sure there's a ton of commercial license stuff for bands. Yeah. And the way these sites work is you a lot of times you pay a subscription fee. And so you have an allotted amount of files that you can download every month or whatever. And whoever bought the image was probably just scrolling and like, oh, that one works. And they just didn't think about it. They didn't look at the license. They didn't do the extra steps. They didn't do their due diligence because they probably don't get paid enough to. So it's go ahead.
And to your point, or to, I believe your earlier point, there are comments on here. There is a comment on here where somebody actually tags Fesley, because I don't know if the Fesley team's post is actually on there saying that they've withdrawn it, and it seems like, like you said, it seems like they're trying to do the right thing. But as soon as they were called out, it seemed like they looked into it, and they basically say, like, we hire out our graphic design.
Oh, I didn't even read that. That's exactly what I predicted.
Yeah.
They got it. They don't have an in-house.
And so they said, we talked to our third party that handles our art and our whatever. And, you know, as a company, they still have the final say, right? Like that they're saying like we still have like when our graphics team that or this graphics third party sends us stuff, we look at it all. We just I mean, the implication, they don't say this, but the implication is like we just assume that the people we work with are above board, and they weren't.
It's graphic
So, you
design,
know,
though, man.
oh, I know,
It's
I know.
they're I don't want to be too disparaging, but when you're in an industry long enough, you know exactly how it operates, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it is what it is.
I've read the you know, your wife used to keep a blog from because she would do like a lot of like family
Yeah.
stuff, like these family cartoon art for people that for actually she did one for like my family years
Mhm.
ago. She's done it for a lot of families and for people's vlogs and just for general design on stock images on stock image websites, the same kind of thing that you were
Mhm.
doing. And and so she's like pulled things out and posted the conversations where people would be like, yeah, I started with your image, but like, can't you tell I added a bulge here? So now it's
Right,
mine.
right.
And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
And it's funny because when you upload these things, you have to show your work. You have to show sketches. If you
Right.
illustrated something that looks fairly photorealistic, there are artists who can like make realistic art out of their imagination. They're incredibly skilled.
Sure. Sure.
And so they require you to show your work, show your sketches, show the build files, show that this came
Mhm.
out of your mind, because these sites can get in trouble if an illustrator like traces
Yeah.
a car or traces
Sure.
a commercial product that is copyrighted or trademarked or has any legal protection on it at all. Like you can't make an iPhone. You can't make an illustration of an iPhone, and it's just a black brick. You have to move buttons around and give it unique features that are imaginary, because you can't just do it. And it's the same thing for the people that purchase the images, whether they be photos or illustrations. There's still restrictions. Just because you paid for something, it's not a corn dog. You don't get to do whatever you want with it. You don't get to chomp it down and turn it into poop. It's someone still owns rights to it. And there's legal and not legal ways to use it, but no one thinks about that. That's not the way this stuff feels when you buy it. It's not the way that, because people are buying this stuff to be parts of creative tools for themselves to use in other projects. They're not thinking about where it came from. They're thinking about their end use every single time. It's just one of these flawed industries where, like, you want it, done cheap, fast, and right. You can only pick two. you know like, it's just one of those things. So yeah, if people out there don't want to support Fesley because of this, fine, I guess. I think
Yeah.
it's silly. Going back to your point about Fender, being anti-union and, not taking the best care of their workers a lot of times, like, that's unfortunately the guitar industry across the board. It's
Oh
very
yeah.
rare that
Yeah.
you hear about the manufacturing side being
Yeah.
great. And
I've actually heard
for US builders, I'm not even talking import. Like, people want to trash on import all the time. Like, in the US, like, it's
right.
labor's not great.
I've actually heard Schecter Custom Shop is really
Oh,
good.
really? Everyone go work
Yeah.
for Schecter. Like, and yeah, some companies are better
I
than
also
others,
have heard that
but
I've also heard that all their fridges are full of monsters. So depending on like the beverage, so like depending
yeah,
on whether or not that's your scene,
and
but it makes sense for
they only
them.
hire Kyles, which makes it an
I don't
extremely aggressive workplace.
uh I don't know if that part's true. But
You have to have
uh
Kyle somewhere. It can be a middle name, it can be a last name, but it's got to be in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the best
They
part
make you
is, and
punch through 4 layers of drywall and you're
oh
in
my
in
gosh.
your interview.
I hope it was recording on your end because that whole like 2 minute like monologue that you just went on that kind of wrapped up the topic,
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of it.
Were you blacked out?
I don't know what
Oh,
happened.
you just didn't.
I had no
Oh,
audio.
I'm sorry, bud. Okay.
It's happening again right now.
Oh, that sucks. It's probably because my internet sucks.
I can't hear anything. What's going on? Where'd you go?
Do you hear me now?
Is it on my side? Maybe it's on my
I hear
side.
you.
Yeah. Oh, now you're back.
Now I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I should probably keep talking so you
back.
can editing, Ryan. Cut this stuff out.
I don't know what's going on. All right.
Well, let's wrap this up and get to the last ad so we can get out of here before there's more
this
technical
last
failures.
ad was sent by.
And also, guys, don't go track down the person who originally left that comment and harassed them. Like I spent a lot of time replying to them and giving them very detailed and sincere answers, and they haven't replied since. So just don't go hassle them. Like that's not what this is about. This is never what this is about. Unless I post a comment on Instagram, then it's open season.
This was sent by Brian Brooks. This guitar, where's the description? Is there a description?
Is there not a description?
I don't think there's a description. But this is at Shop Goodwill. This is $326.
There's the Goodwill page. That's all there is. So there wasn't something to
and Goodwill doesn't. Item description: frets 19 through 22 are scalloped. That's the entire description. This is a Fender Mirror Guard Stratocaster style pick guitar.
Here's my question for you, Steve. I want to know if you think this sold for the right price, because this auction ended with this at $326. I want to know if you can figure out the pedigree of the neck and if all the parts added up makes sense. My gut is that someone got a deal.
I think someone got a deal.
I think someone got a deal here.
I'm a little lost on.
I mean, it's rough. Like things, like it's scalloped on 4 frets. They gave up. You know, like if you're gonna start scalloping, give up if it's not going right. They gave up.
Well, no, I think the 19 to 22, like that could be intentional. Some people only scallop the very though usually you would think 12 and higher or 15 and higher.
I don't think I've ever seen scallops that didn't start at least like the 13th fret.
What I can't tell from this, and these photos are so far back. I wonder if I can find this.
Like we know that the Kahler is aftermarket because has there ever been a Fender with a stock Kahler that wasn't a custom shop thing, you know? So the pick guard is likely aftermarket. The bridge is likely aftermarket. The pickup is probably aftermarket. It's a parts guitar, but looking at the neck, like my suspicion is that this is a decent neck. And it's going to be on a real Fender body that was a real, a decent Fender. Like the wood and the finishing all looks decent to me. Maybe it's MIJ. This could be like an MIJ thing here. I actually like the reliking on it. Like this is a great punk rock starter for $325 or whatever it was, $326.
Yeah.
I think this looks cool. I like this 2-tone with the mirror guard thing. Like most of it is relic white. It still has black on the lower horn and around the pick guard. I like the scrapes and scratches. It looks like someone attacked it with a sander or whatever, but it ended up looking cool instead of looking lame, in my opinion. And there's things carved into the side and stuff like that. It looks like it belongs in a dive bar bathroom. Like it just needs some gross stickers on it and a urinal cake, and this is a dive bar bathroom. I like it. Now I want to know what you think the pedigree of this neck is, because I know you've been Googling.
Well, I just can't. It's so far zoomed out that it's hard to tell. I want it to be Japanese. It definitely looks really solid. It's got the square backs, which
I wouldn't believe
might mean they're replacement tuners.
I think the nut is aftermarket. It looks like a brass nut. I'm sure that the lockers are aftermarket. It looks like there's enough pixels for me to tell that that's a water slide decal. Whether that's stock or aftermarket, who knows? I can see the truss rod hole underneath the locks, but I can't tell the material, but it does look like the black or dark brown sort of plastic insert sort of thing. To my suspicion, my instinct on looking at the 4 pixels that I have here, you know.
Right. I'm trying to see if I can get this pulled up. I'm not. What was this actually listed as? Doesn't say. In the north. I was trying to see if I
just
could.
realized I never actually wrapped up the point I was trying to make on the Fesley discussion.
Really?
I was going to say, hey, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and there's also no ethical labor under capitalism. So, like, find any person doing any work anywhere that can't be traced to something unethical. Like, it's good luck.
Yeah, I can't find this on the Goodwill site.
Oh yes,
well, you can search like closed
okay
auctions.
What were you trying to find on it?
I just wanted to see like a picture that's an.
I don't think the photos would be any better, man.
On the drive. But yeah, with that trem,
those look like Fender tuners to me. I think those are the original Fender tuners. I don't think that this person would have changed the tuners to be a different style of Fender tuner. This person would have gone oddball aftermarket, you know.
But it's funny because like the strap pins are like an Ibanez style, like an 80s Ibanez style strap pin, or Honer used those as well.
There's a bunch of aftermarket stuff going on here. Aftermarket mark here.
I think 326 is like risky, but I think if you're the kind of person who can like tweak stuff readily, like if we know a lot of people who like look for stuff and look for stuff and things,
I don't think 326 is risky on this. I think this is bye.
I'm saying like I think 326s would be risky for like me to get because I'm not in a position to like repair problems.
Right.
But if you are in a position where like you can take this in, you could be getting like a whole bucket full of like really cool parts.
This either like a cool parts thing, like if you've got an old Kahler and you're looking for a parts bucket replacement sort of thing, there it is. And then you've got another guitar. If you're looking for a neck, there it is. If you're looking for an EMG, this has an EMG in it. It's an EMG branded EMG. It's a real EMG, not an OMG. So there's some significant parts in here. And normally I don't say parts make the value, but at $325, that's Squire money. And this is either a Japanese or an American. A Fender setup here is my suspicion. Even if it's Mexican, you're still doing fine. You're still doing fine, and you're getting a cool guitar. In my mind, this is a pound puppy situation. You're adopting this. Like, yeah, it could be a parts bucket. You could make that argument. Maybe there's not a lot of flip there. I imagine the flip's not great unless it turns out that that's some truly special neck. But the potential for this to be a really fun guitar is there for $326. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like if I was shopping for a Strat and this was local and I had been shopping for new stuff, I would buy this. I would buy the used thing and I would adopt it and I would lovingly bring it into my home. I would give it a name. I would give it a bath and feed it treats. I'd make it all fat and happy, and it'd be my little guy. So I say bye.
No, I think that's a good call.
Yeah,
I think this is a bye.
Now, what do you think? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What do you think the top end of the value is on this? Because I don't think it's far off.
No, I mean, I would say top end's probably like 350.
Yeah, south of 400 for sure, but it's still a safe buy. But north of 400, you can start getting into some pretty decent stuff. But yeah, that close to 300, like it just feels like a good thing. Like I like it. It's rowdy. It's got personality out of the gate. It's got like I would buy this just to have a Kahler. Because
do you have any idea how long ago this ad was sent in?
If
you don't, you don't.
Probably a month and a half ago. Are you still trying to find the original ad? I don't think they sent the original ad.
Yeah, man. I'm on a ride now.
Okay, all right.
I'm on a ride. Give me another 30
Is it because
seconds,
Brian
Ryan.
Brooks sends in thousands of listings?
No.
Is he one of those guys?
No, I'm just trying to see. There we go. This is the search string that may or may not actually. Wow, that store had a 1963 Fender Duo Sonic in it. I just did a search for Fender in the store specifically, and this guitar is still not coming.
Okay, this is really exciting stuff, Steve.
That's it. Yeah. We're done. I'm done.
Nice
Ryan.
Try.
Ryan. Yes. It's time to every week, of course, as the listeners know, every week we give away either a $25 gift card or 2 pedals from a box of affordable pedals that is in my garage. And we call that the Adventurers Club. And now is the time for us to pick our winner for the Adventurers Club. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't.
You're really winding this one up. I like it.
And my choice this week, I'm going to go first. I don't know why. My choice this week is the Swinger from Philip Lau.
Well, I am in between the Swinger and this Kahler Fender.
I could go Kahler.
Oh,
if you were going to go modded PRS, we were going to have to.
I wasn't going to go modded PRS. No way.
But I can go.
You're leaning towards the Swinger.
I'm leaning towards Swinger, but if it's for you, it's between the Swinger. It was between the Swinger and the Kahler for me.
We don't need to spin. I think I'm going over to the Swinger. I think that was a really solid.
You're going to go to the Swinger.
That was a solid one. Yeah. It was a classic one. You know, we show a lot of stuff that's, you know, oddball and weird and stuff like that. But that's a classic Fender factory oddball. So
yeah,
it felt refreshing.
All right. This week's song, which we're not going to. Oh, so congratulations, Philip Lauer.
Congratulations.
I will be getting in contact with you. This week's song was sent. You ready for that? You got anything else?
Yes. Now do it, man.
That coffee. I've been drinking coffee. That coffee's hitting now.
Get us out of here.
Feeling that coffee rush. This song was sent by Jerad Mione. Mione, I don't know. He says, "Hey Ryan and Steve, this is a demo song we just recorded and are booked at a studio to do a 4-song EP in May. This is a dark wave band played by 90s hardcore kids. So his band is called Demmers, and this song is called The Pulse. You can check them out on Spotify, Instagram, and Bandcamp. Of course, I'll have a link below. I usually do Bandcamp links, so if you want to check them out. And this song is called The Pulse."
We're back. We didn't hear the song here while you heard it. Well, we didn't hear it while we were recording it, but we did hear it while you heard it because we're probably in the Premiere chat right now. So if you want to know what our opinion is on that song, I know that I probably loved it because I am a Darkwave fan. I actually do enjoy listening to Darkwave quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to hearing that when I edit this video. But if you want to know our opinions, go over to the Premiere chat playback if you're not in the Premiere, and you can probably see us typing about it. So there you go. That's a good reason to click the bell and select all for this channel. And for a lot of channels, honestly, is that when we do premieres, you're more likely to get a notification so you can hang out in the chat and have a good time and you get to socialize with your favorite creators. So just something to think about, guys. Thanks for sending in that song. Everyone else, send in your songs. We're all musicians here, right? So we should have songs. Send us your songs and we'll play it on the show.
I don't have any songs.
You have songs. Steve, you could submit your favorite band songs.
I could. I thought about that actually.
I hope you don't.
I gotta find the hard drive where I have all those songs. I'm not sure where that is.
We both have the same hard drive that has all those songs, and it's one of Adam's hard drives. So
no, I don't have that hard drive.
No, he has it. This is what I'm saying. We just asked for the songs.
We have to ask him. No, I'm saying I think I have MP3s of all of your favorite band and all of the Morning Glass.
I have CDs somewhere. So
I should submit some Harry Backman.
Ooh, okay, if you want to.
I gotta like I said, if I can find
Ska's coming back. Steve was in a ska band with our buddy Adam.
A hornless ska band. That would be fun. I'll maybe I'll dig that out sometime.
All right. Okay. Bye, everybody. Stay grounded.
Stay grounded. I think my computer just decided not to play your audio anymore.
It just stopped.
Yeah, it's weird. Because at 1.2, one of my screens went black.